Why are marriage rates at a historic low? Why are men increasingly shying away from the altar? These are questions that have been echoing across society as we've observed a consistent decline in marriage rates since the 1970s. It's an intriguing phenomenon, one that is reflective of evolving societal norms and values. Back in 2006, half of the adult population believed in the significance of tying the knot and raising children together. Fast forward to 2020, and this figure has plummeted to a mere 29%. That's a staggering 21% drop in just over a decade, a testament to the sea change in perceptions about marriage. From being a celebrated milestone in life, marriage has gradually become less of a priority, particularly for men. This trend raises some thought-provoking questions about the changing dynamics of relationships and family structures in the present day. So what has caused this seismic shift in men's attitude towards marriage? One of the most cited reasons is the fear of financial loss and the high stakes of divorce. So, let's dive into the thick of it. Imagine working your entire life, pouring your blood, sweat and tears into building a secure financial future. Then, in the blink of an eye, half of it could vanish. Sounds scary? Well, it's a reality many men face in the event of a divorce. Now let's add some weight to this. Studies show that women initiate divorce 72% of the time. This leaves men not only emotionally, but also financially vulnerable. It's like playing a game where the odds are stacked against you right from the start. But wait, there's more. Alimony, a term that sends shivers down the spine of many men. It's a monetary obligation imposed on one party to provide financial support to their spouse during or after divorce. This can be a hefty burden, especially when it feels like a punishment for a failed marriage. The thought of having to pay a significant portion of your income for an indefinite period can be daunting. It's like a ghost from a past life that continues to haunt you. Add to this the division of assets. Homes, cars, even pets can be split down the middle, leaving men with a fraction of what they once had. It's an uphill battle that many men are unwilling to fight. And why should they, when the reward seems to be outweighed by the potential loss? But here's the kicker. It's not just about the tangible assets. It's about the future earnings too. A successful career can become a double-edged sword in a divorce, with potential future earnings also up for division. It's like a shadow that looms over their financial future, casting a dark and uncertain cloud. So it's no surprise that men are increasingly fearful of entering into a marriage contract. The potential financial loss can be staggering, and the fear of it can be paralyzing. But it's not just about the money, it's also about the kids. The tug-of-war for child custody is another major deterrent for men considering marriage. Once the knot is untied and the dust of divorce proceedings settles, often what looms is a battle of another kind. The battle for child custody. A battle that, statistically speaking, women win 86% of the time. This statistic alone paints a disheartening picture for many men who fear not only the loss of their marital relationship, but also the possible estrangement from their own flesh and blood. Child custody disputes, though inherently legal, are not just about law, they are about love, attachment, and the deep emotional bonds between parents and their children. For fathers, the prospect of losing primary custody is not just a legal defeat, but also a profound emotional loss. It's a loss that can take a heavy toll on their mental well-being, often leading to stress, depression, and a sense of powerlessness. But the emotional toll is not the only concern. With custody comes the responsibility of child support, a financial obligation that can be substantial and long-term. For many men, this is seen as another blow, a financial burden that comes at a time when their own economic stability might be shaken due to the costs of divorce. Then, there's the darker side of the custody battle. The allegations of abuse, physical, emotional, or mental, that are sometimes wielded like weapons in these disputes. While it's crucial to protect children from any form of harm, false accusations can be devastating for the accused, further complicating the process and deepening the wounds of the conflict. In this complex interplay of emotions, finances, and allegations, it's not hard to see why many men might think twice about walking down the aisle. The fear of losing not just a partner, but a child, a chunk of income, and in some cases, their reputation can be a powerful deterrent. Yet there's more to this story than just divorce and custody battles. The changing role of women in society has also played a part in men's disinterest in marriage. As we journey through the 21st century, there's no denying the rise of the strong, independent woman. Women are increasingly charting their own paths, breaking glass ceilings, and proving time and time again that they are more than capable of standing on their own 2 feet. This shift in societal norms has undeniably influenced men's attitudes towards marriage. Historically, marriage was seen as a necessity for women, largely due to societal and economic reasons. But now, women are more financially independent, and the need for marriage as a support system has greatly reduced. This independence can sometimes be perceived as intimidating or emasculating, leading some men to question their role and value in a potential marriage. The #MeToo movement, while a necessary and powerful campaign against sexual harassment and assault, has also had unintended consequences on the dynamics of romantic relationships. Men are now more cautious, perhaps even fearful, of misinterpretation or false accusations. The line between flirtation and harassment, once blurred, is now under a microscope, causing men to reassess their approach towards women and relationships in general. Moreover, the perception of masculine women has also influenced men's attitudes towards marriage. In an era where traditional gender roles are being challenged, women who exhibit strength, resilience, and independence, traits traditionally associated with masculinity, are sometimes viewed negatively. This can create a disconnect in romantic relationships, making marriage seem less appealing. However, it's important to remember that these changes are not necessarily negative. They reflect a society that is evolving, one that is striving for gender equality and challenging outdated norms. Women's independence and strength should be celebrated, not feared. So, where does this leave us in the grand scheme of things? With all these factors in play, what does the future hold for marriage? As we gaze into the crystal ball of matrimony's future, we see an intriguing kaleidoscope of possibilities. Will marriage rates continue to plummet, or is there hope for a revival? The answer isn't as straightforward as you might think. There's no denying the fact that the landscape of marriage has drastically changed over the years. The traditional family structure that once dominated society has been replaced by a more diverse array of living arrangements. People are opting for cohabitation, single parenthood, and remaining solo by choice. A significant part of this shift can be attributed to men's growing apprehension towards marriage, fueled by the fear of financial loss, custody battles, and the changing dynamics of gender roles. If this trend continues, we might witness an even further decline in marriage rates. This could potentially lead to a society where marriage becomes an exception rather than the norm. But let's not forget that every coin has 2 sides. It also opens the door to a more flexible, understanding society where love isn't confined to the boundaries of a legal contract. However, this doesn't mean that we should simply accept this change without addressing the underlying issues. There's a pressing need for a societal shift in understanding and addressing the fears that men have about marriage. This includes reforming the legal system to ensure fair treatment in divorce proceedings and child custody battles, promoting healthy communication in relationships, and challenging the traditional gender roles that often put undue pressure on men. Moreover, we must also work towards creating an environment where both men and women feel valued and respected in a relationship. This includes acknowledging the importance of men's emotional well-being and challenging the stereotypes that often stigmatize men for expressing their feelings. The future of marriage is not set in stone. It's a fluid concept that will continue to evolve with society's changing views on love, commitment, and gender roles. As we move forward, it's clear that our understanding of marriage and the roles of men and women within it needs to evolve. To sum it up, the decline in marriage rates is a complex issue with no single cause. We've explored the fear of financial loss, a concern that resonates with many men who worry about losing half of their hard-earned assets in a potential divorce. We've also delved into the emotional turmoil of custody battles where men often feel disadvantaged, with women getting custody of the children a significant percentage of the time. Then, we examined the shifting role of women in society, their growing independence and strength, and how this evolution has, in some ways, impacted traditional marital dynamics. Lastly, we touched on the uncertainty of marriage's future, a concept that is rapidly transforming with societal changes and movements like Me Too. It's a conversation that needs to continue, as we navigate these changing societal landscapes together.